So, sorry about that, part 2. So we've taken the bolt out. Now, you can just literally slide these out with your fingers. Okay, and this is what the 3 rockers are. As you go, slightly difficult one-handed. Okay, so I'll just go put them on the bench. Okay, again, I'll get them in a second. So, what this leaves you with is a basic system setup of the Clake. So as you can see in here, you've got brake cam, so the brake piston, clutch piston, and the assist. So I actually lost one of these a while ago and contacted Clake, who couldn't help me. Who basically said, no, don't want nothing to do with it. You'd have to make your own. So that's what I've done. And what these are, I'll take one out just to show you. So what these are, again, I made this out of an old screw. As you can see, it's just basically a little pin that goes inside the rocker arm, which I'll show you now. So as you can see on the rocker arm there, you've got some divots. That basically just sits inside there. And as that sits inside, that pushes into the piston, which we'll show you now. Again, I apologise about this video quality. It's my first ever time, but I feel like people should know how this works. So, again, you can see inside here the pistons. I had to actually replace one of these. Again, I was using it and the clutch just decided to go in by itself. And it turns out that the little clutch piston had gone. Again, KTM sell the clutch pistons. Husenberg dealers sell the Magura brake cylinder piston, which again I replaced as a precaution, 20 quid each. You can see on the little grub screw here. Take that screw out, these pop out. You will have to rebleed the system afterwards, but well worth changing once a season. So the one thing I wanted to talk about today was this spring. Now this spring is your clutch assist spring. So Clake tell you basically if you want to have a real light clutch, you have to mess around with their cams, order 10 different cams and try which one's which, and this, that and the other. Okay, so for those of you again who don't know what the cams are, I'll show you on my Pro lever, on my Clake 2 lever, sorry. So you can see here, this is just the brake lever. On the back here, these little cams. Okay, now what these cams do is basically roll on and off these rollers that actuates the brake and master cylinder. Again, as you saw earlier in the video. The one thing they don't say is there's a much easier way to do this. So what this does is, as you let off the clutch, this preloads this spring. So as soon as you pull the clutch, if you imagine, as you pull the clutch, this spring forces its way upwards, therefore assisting you pulling the clutch. Okay, so these are all the cams they sell you, and do this and do that and spend loads of money, and okay, fine. But what I found was that simply taking the top off it, you'll see on here a little washer. Okay, so what you can do is just add more washers. Okay, so when you add more washers, I've now got 3 on there. I run 6 washers on there. Now slot that back in. Now what that automatically does is lengthen the spring, which is going to give you more compression, which is going to give you more assist. So for the sake of 20p for a washer, you can spend £2 and have a really, really easy clutch. It does make it slightly harder to get the rocker arms back in, however, worth every penny. Don't go wait for an Australian, postal service that takes 4 weeks to bring anything. So really smart little tip there if you're having issues with that. Okay, so again, you can just mount all that back together. I won't do an actual review on the product on this one. It's just a little sort of tips you can do. So second thing I found was the rear brake. The rear brake was just so hard to get right. So again, using the Pro lever, I found it very, very close between the clutch and rear brake. So the one thing that I have done, I haven't done it today, but I just wanted to show you what sort of gaps I'm working with. So you can see here, there is a big, big piston gap here. So get yourself some new pads, and what you can do is push this piston all the way back, and you can actually slot a third brakes pad in there. So you're technically doubling up the piston side brake pad. Now what this is going to allow, is more pressure to be gained against that pad. So that's another helpful tip as well.